So not only was this my first national ever, it was the first card show that I actually attended in like 35 years, to be exact. Last one, 1987, Schenectady, New York, when Joe DiMaggio was the signer, and you can get his autograph for $7 back then, which is pretty crazy when you think about that. But anyway, I had booked a hotel for this thing like a year ago because I thought, well, let me get this out of the way and lock in a room. Because I can always cancel it if I decide against going, and that'd be easier to do than maybe waiting to the last minute and wanting to go than having to scramble to find a place and maybe pay a lot more money than I did, perhaps. So I did that, and my goal was to get down there early enough on Thursday so I could walk the floor a little bit. But by the time I got out of here and got down there, it just the cost benefit wasn't in my favor because Ubers were about $60 round trip with tip. And the show was like only $30, so like $100. And I maybe if I have an hour there, if I'm lucky. So I decided against going on Thursday after I arrived. So I just hung out until the YouTube event at the Sheraton that evening, which was really fun to go and meet a lot of people that I've seen for many years here on YouTube. So for the very first time, everybody I talked to, like Ray from Philly, Mike, Lou Rock, Joe Silverjacket Fights. In fact, I was talking to him, and that dude, who he kind of looks like Dr. Evil. He's up in Canada. He's got that late night talk show. I forget his name, but he comes up. This guy, I had no idea how I felt like a toddler standing next to this guy. He must have been like 7 feet tall, or at least it seemed that way. I mean, Joe's pretty tall, and he towered over Joe. So that was an interesting dynamic to see, in person. And then we ended up going upstairs to like the bar area, and then more people kind of came and showed up and filtered up there, and it was great. I talked to George at Diamond Yard Sports Cards a little bit. I talked to Josh, Rated Rookie, and Andy. She blinded me with refractors. In fact, those two guys, I get a sense that we're kind of all on the same page in regards to our sense of humor. So we had some laughs, kind of talking about some Curb Your Enthusiasm episodes and hijinks, things like that. Don, Field of Dreams cards, and Rick Oddball cards. I didn't get much time to talk to them, if at all, unfortunately. There's only so much time you could spend. Probably some of the highlights that night, seeing Andrew Nuffsaid cards. He brought his case filled with some of the nicest vintage you're ever going to see. And, really happy to look at some of those cards up close and actually hold them. And in fact, at one point I felt uncomfortable because they were so rare and valuable. I just kind of felt like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. And then some of the enthusiasm exhibited by a couple guys in particular that were really, proud of their pickups, and they did a really good job with what they got. For example, Wade Boggs fan stands out, stuff he picked up, and then Adam at the Vintage Sanctuary. It's just those two guys, just their, unfiltered enthusiasm for what they got at the show. And anyway, so that was, Thursday night, the YouTube sort of meetup, and I'm probably forgetting people I ran into. I think Sean Tieford I talked to a little bit, Victor. I know I'm forgetting people. But anyway, Friday was my first full day at the show. And Andrew actually hooked me up with free parking, which I guess I figured parking was going to be a disaster. And it was. Somehow he got like a dealer upgrade to park at the Sheraton. So he gave me his Wave parking pass, which was the nearest garage to the facility that wasn't the Sheraton. And so that probably saved me. I mean, Ubers back and forth were $60, right? So I go down, I have to go back, then I have to go down and go back again for the nighttime stuff, right? So probably saved me about $120 for in parking or in Uber fees, which was very appreciated. And so I ended up parking there and walked over, and I thought about bringing a mask, and I forgot it. And man, people were crammed in there like cattle. And lo and behold, I guess COVID was rampant throughout the event. I might have dodged a bullet because several people that I was hanging out with actually have COVID or had COVID. And honestly, I woke up sneezing and blowing my nose yesterday all day long. Was it yesterday? 2 days ago. Feeling a little bit better today. I've taken multiple COVID tests and they've all been negative. So I probably just have some kind of summer cold or some kind of thing from daycare for my kid. But anyway, so I walked there. I walked through the show alone, looking for two specific cards: 51 Bowman Roy Campanella and a 35 Diamond Stars Jimmy Fox. Both cards, basically the nicest grade with eye appeal that I can get, up to around $1,000. Something in like a PSA 7, 8 range for the Campanella, maybe a little more, depending on how nice the card looked, and then maybe somewhere around like a 5, 6 range for the Fox. But I found neither in the grades or the eye appeal I was looking for. I did see a couple, but they were either raw or low grade and just wasn't interested in them. So, Friday, didn't pick up anything. Ultimately, when I was walking the floor, I ran into Josh and Andrew Nuffside cards at a table, and they were talking about something. So I went up behind them and I just said, "Don't do it." And I was just messing with them. But they were Josh was looking to get work a deal on a Bill Russell rookie, which looked incredible for the grade. It just looked incredible in general. Almost like, it was a PSA 5, almost like it was a PSA 7 or 8, but it had some sort of thing that you couldn't see that knocked it to a 5. That's how good the card looked. No snow on the glossy surface. And, Andrew and I were talking like, my God, that's a nice card. And he's like, yeah, I'd get it if I could, And I understand the apprehension for such a big card purchase and the amount of money required to change hands to get the deal done. And we were kind of egging him on, but I was trying to be careful not to egg him on in such a way where, when your kids and your friend says, "Hey man, I'm gonna go jump off that roof and into the pool. Want to see me do it?" And you're like, "Yeah, man, do it." And honestly, you're hoping for him to fall on his ass and crack his head open so you can laugh at him, kind of like egging at. That wasn't this at all. This was like, "Hey, look, if you feel comfortable, you can pull this off. You will not regret this. This is now or never type of moment for this particular card because you'll never see it again at this grade, at this price point." And one of the things that I mentioned was like, Bill Russell's like 80-something years old, and he's not going to be around much longer. And the guy died the next day. Total coincidence, obviously. But anyway, he was able to work out a deal for the card, and super happy for him because I know he's a big basketball guy, and that is a monster card to own. The Bill Russell 57 Topps rookie card. So that was on Friday. So no pickups for me, like I said. The event at the Claridge was fun. That was a party hosted by Filmington and Silver Jackify. So I saw some more people there. Actually, even though I saw him on Thursday, I got to spend a little more time with that Sfachim, John Mangini, and let him buy me a drink. And I don't know if I was talking to John or somebody else at the time when out of nowhere, somebody comes up to me and says, "Hey man, I love you. You don't even know me." And I'm like, "What?" And it turns out it was Orlando from A Collector's Dream. And he's a guy that I promoted on my channel because he only had 38 subs and had been around for few months. And I'm just thinking, I think at the time I was like, man, how do these card clowns with their limited knowledge in collecting and whatnot have all these subs and views and likes? And you got a guy like Orlando who's been around a long time. He's got a great collection of rare stuff, awesome vintage, and he's getting no recognition. So fortunately, it seems like it's working out for him now. I think his channel has grown a fair amount, which is great. I think more people need to see or deserve to see what he brings to the table in the collecting space. So that was Orlando. I spent a little bit of time talking to him. I'm trying to think who else. Joe and I spent some time chatting, of course, and I think a little more talking with Andy a little bit. And, it's just kind of shooting the breeze with, people you've kind of sort of known for years, but not really. So it kind of brings a whole new element to the equation when you're doing things in person, right? So I ended up checking out of there, taking an Uber back to the hotel. And Saturday, I kind of wanted to cast a wider net because I was unsuccessful on Friday with what I was looking for and kind of maybe too little bit of a narrow focus. So I upped my budget dramatically and decided, okay, let's look for a 49 Bowman Page. Let's look for a 34 Gowdy Gehrig, card number 61. And then also on the periphery of Topps Wayne Gretzky PSA 8. It's kind of one of my target cards too, right? So I can probably get one of those big cards and a decent grade, or maybe a couple of lower grade cards, depending on how they look, like maybe both the 49 Bowman Satchel Page and the Gehrig, if I could find them, which I did not. But I ended up meeting up with Andrew again. We walked the show floor the rest of the time I was there, and he knows a lot of people, a lot of dealers. So he was basically helping me out with, hey, go check out this guy. Let's go talk to this guy. Even asking him point blank, hey, do you have this card? Because maybe they don't have it out. Maybe they have it somewhere, maybe in a personal stash, or maybe back at the shop or whatever. And people were like, yeah, I have it, but it's mine. I'm not selling it. And one guy at a very prominent dealer table, very prominent, said, yes, I do actually have a PSA 3 and a 4.5. Those are grades that are right up my alley for that particular card, right? I feel like that's going to be my price range. So I gave him my personal information. I entered it into a cell phone. I haven't heard back from him yet. Maybe I won't, but if he does reach out, I'm looking to do maybe a cash deal offline. That's the way to go. And he's kind of local. He's in the Metro New York area, I believe. So there was one guy he wanted me to talk to. I think it was Memory Lane, whatever that big auction house was when you first walk in the doors. And we had stopped by the booth, and he was tied up with a customer. So, or he wasn't there. And he's like, well, let's go back to this guy afterwards. And, we ended up walking around. And we went back to I think it's Memory Lane. So we get up there. We're approaching, and there's this crowd of people standing around, and his guy's talking to whoever. And when we get closer, it's Sports Card Investor. And I don't know if we were both thinking out loud or what, but Andrew Andrew blurts out, this guy. And I just went, oh God. And I thought I was, I think I was just thinking out loud, but one of his employees heard us, and she looked at us and kind of laughed or smiled. So, she could obviously tell we weren't fans. Anyway, I thought that was kind of funny. I never did get a chance to talk to this guy directly. Somebody nearby had a 34 Gehrig, but with a rather optimistic price point, which I think a lot of the big vintage had stickers. In fact, I think they were stickers from last year's National, still on the cards, in my opinion. So anyway, he's definitely very helpful, and we'll see if that one guy reaches back out to me with that Gehrig hookup, but I don't know. I'm not holding my breath for that. So anyway, walked out Saturday with nothing, and I didn't want to make an emotional purchase just for the sake of buying something. I'm very particular, and so I just didn't buy anything. But it was a good time. It was a good experience. I'm not going to be going to Chicago. A very remote chance I would attend the Chicago show next year. So, but that's too bad, because I know there's people that are probably going that I didn't get to see this year that I would probably enjoy talking to, but whatever. And so there you have it. That's my sort of, and I stopped showing the cards here. I was kind of just going to flip through these as I was talking. But anyway, that's my sort of national recap. Unfortunately, not very exciting. No pickups, just my opinions, random thoughts, and musings. And thanks for watching.